Here are today's top stories. The government meets with mediating country Norway as peace talks with communist rebels are put on hold. Police arrest 4,000 loiterers as President Duterte orders intensified anti-crime operations. The Court of Appeals rules that Maynilad's water rate hike is legal, and the first ever esports franchise league is set to be launched in the country. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Philippines is set to report to peace facilitator Norway on the reset of the peace talks between the government and the Communist Party of the Philippines. More on this report from Johnny Scabe.
Presidential Peace Advisor Jesus Doreza is scheduled to meet with Norway's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ine Eriksen Søreide, to personally explain the temporary cancellation of the peace talks with the Communist Party of the Philippines. Doreza was officially invited to be a participant at the Oslo Forum, a global peace negotiators conference in Norway, but he will be meeting separately with Søreide to discuss the status of peace works in the country. Doreza said they have no scheduled audience with the CPP in his Oslo trip. Norway is the facilitator in the government's peace negotiations with the CPP. On Thursday, Doreza revealed President Rodrigo Duterte's decision to postpone the resumption of the peace talks with the CPP to allow further public participation in the peace process. The talks were supposed to be on June 28 to 30. Meanwhile, AFP Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez believes a public consultation is needed before peace talks with the communist rebels push through. Galvez says some issues that were discussed in back-channel negotiations between the government and the National Democratic Front need to be consulted to the public. Galvez supports President Duterte's statement that the provisions in the stand-down agreement, supposed to take effect on June 21, should be studied. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Johnny Scabe.
President Rodrigo Duterte reiterates his commitment to step down once a federal government is in place. Duterte says the government is trying to perfect everything as the consultative committee drafting the federal constitution finishes its work. Duterte said that the only reason he remains as president was because he was trying to fix the current 1987 constitution, which he felt did not distribute power and resources to regions nationwide. He also belied remarks that he would use federalism for a term extension, adding that he has no plans to lead the transition to federalism. The CONCOM will kick off regional consultations in Dumaguete on June 18 and then in Baguio City on June 25 to 27. It is still on track in submitting its draft to the President on July 9 or earlier before he delivers his third State of the Nation address on July 23. Special Assistant to the President Christopher Lawrence Bongo has hailed the Office for Transportation Security for its immediate response on the reported incidents of Tanimbala extortion last Friday. Go expressed confidence on OTS Administrator Undersecretary Art Evangelista, saying the public can trust the official, particularly in reporting suspected acts of extortion. He reiterated that President Rodrigo Duterte will never tolerate such activities under this administration. Passenger Christine Bumanglag Moran recently narrated through a Facebook status how she was caught with a bullet in her luggage on Friday afternoon, suspecting a Tanimbala modus. But in a statement, the Manila International Airport Authority said the luggage yielded one-piece 9mm cartridge stuck at the bottom of the front pocket of the victim's luggage when X-ray at the initial security checkpoint. Police in Metro Manila have arrested about 4,000 tambay or loiterers since Friday for various violations. Those arrested were found violating local ordinances such as the nationwide smoking ban, drinking alcohol, and appearing half-naked in public areas. Other individuals who were found gathered together were given verbal warnings. NCRPO Director Guillermo Eliazar says the arrests were made following President Duterte's order to go after tambay. He assured that the PNP continues to respect the human rights of tambay. Malacanang, meanwhile, says the president's order to arrest loiterers aims to prevent crime and keep streets quiet and safe. The palace maintains that loiterers who do not commit or instigate crimes will not be arrested. Cannon Road in Tuba, Benguet has been ordered closed temporarily following a rock slide that injured a policeman and his family yesterday. PO2 Jefferson Cadap was reported driving a Toyota Fortuner along Cannon Road when a huge boulder suddenly fell from the mountainside. The boulder wrecked the left rear portion of the vehicle, and his wife and 2 children suffered minor injuries and were brought to the hospital. The cop was also confined after complaining of dizziness. Cannon Road, the shortest route to and from Baguio City, had been on a closed and open status since the city and the rest of Benguet started to experience continued heavy downpour on June 7. The Office of the Civil Defense Cordillera earlier said the Regional Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council and all concerned agencies were advised to closely monitor the area for any incidents. Motorists and travelers are also reminded to take extra precaution. Still to come, the Court of Appeals rules that Maynilad's water hike is legal. The Philippine Information Agency seeks to digitize records of internally displaced persons in Marawi City. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente. June 7, Huwebes, Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu. Pinangunahan ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang inaugurasyon ng Mactan Cebu International Airport Terminal 2. Ipinagmalaki ng Pangulo ang bagong paliparan na tinawag pa niyang most beautiful airport in the country today.
The construction of this world-class transportation facility shows that government and our private sector partners are committed to provide our people with the necessary infrastructure that will enable them to live more comfortable, productive, and meaningful lives.
Pinanumpa ng Chief Executive ang mahigit 2,000 punong barangay mula Central Visayas at pinayuhan ng mga ito na maging tapat sa tungkulin at patuloy na protektahan ang kanilang mga nasasakupan. June 11, Lunes, Malacanang. Nakipagpulong ang Pangulo sa ilang miyembro ng gabinete at ilang kinatawan ng military at uniformed personnel upang pag-usapan ang kanilang pension system. Kinagabihan ay pinangunahan ng Pangulo ang 26th Cabinet Meeting. June 12, Martes, Kawit, Cavite. Itinaas ng Pangulo ang watawat ng bansa sa paggunita ng ika-120 selebrasyon ng kasarinlan ng Pilipinas.
Today, we honor and remember the patriots who have given their lives in the name of liberty and freedom. As heirs of this great sacrifice, let us all be worthy of their legacy.
Clark Freeport Zone, Pampanga. Pinanumpa rin ng Pangulo ang nasa 3,000 punong barangay mula sa Central Luzon. June 13, Miyerkules, Malacanang. Sinaksihan ng Pangulo ang pagpirma sa Memorandum of Agreement sa pagitan ng Commission on Higher Education at mga state universities and colleges at mga local universities. Makatutulong ito para sa abot kaya at dekalidad na edukasyon para sa kabataang Pilipino.
Education is the single most important legacy that we can bestow on our youth.
Pinanumpa ng Pangulo ang mga na-promote na opisyal mula sa PNP, PCG, BJMP at BFP. Ako po si Secretary Martin Andanar at ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
The Court of Appeals has affirmed a ruling by a lower court allowing Maynilad to implement a water rate hike. More on this from Miguel Hill.
The Court of Appeals has upheld the decision of the Quezon City Regional Trial Court allowing the Maynilad Water Services to increase water rates for its consumers. The CA Second Division junked the petition for review filed by the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System. The lower court earlier granted Maynilad's petition asking MWSS to honor the appeal panel's December 2014 final award in an arbitration case. The award allowed Maynilad to include its corporate income tax in its future cash flows, thus pushing up its basic water charge. But the appellate court says it found no grounds to vacate the arbitral award, especially that arbitration is a voluntary mode of settling disputes that is not covered by the courts. The final award also upheld Maynilad's alternative rebasing adjustment for the fourth rate rebasing period of 13.41%, which results in an adjusted rate of 34 pesos and 34 centavos per cubic meter for every charging year of the rebasing period. Maynilad and MWSS entered into a concession agreement in 1997 which allowed the former the right to manage, operate, repair, decommission, and refurbish the water facilities in the West Zone. Maynilad filed a dispute notice against MWSS in October 2013, seeking appropriate adjustment for a new base level for tax and price index and the resulting adjusted average basic water charge per cubic meter. Maynilad also sought a ruling on whether it is allowed to include its CIT as expenditure in its future cash flows, which the MWSS denied. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The operator of Okada Manila is asking the Department of Justice to indict gaming tycoon Kazuo Okada for estafa. The Parañaque City Prosecutor's Office earlier dismissed the $10 million estafa cases against Okada and his correspondents. Tiger Resort Leisure and Entertainment Incorporated says the dismissal of the complaints and the premature release of the decision violated its right to due process. Tiger Leisure said the resolutions on the dismissal were leaked and posted on social media on May 18, while it received its copy only 2 weeks later. It had accused Parañaque City Prosecutor Amer Hassan Paudak of undue interest because of the leakage. The controversy has prompted Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara to order the National Bureau of Investigation to investigate the said issue. Tiger Leisure accused Okada of illegal disbursement of company funds worth $3.1 million and the anomalous $7 million supply contract for LED fixtures to Okada Manila by Okada's personal company, Aruze Philippines Manufacturing Incorporated. Okada is also facing a string of cases in South Korea, Hong Kong, and Tokyo, Japan. A member of the Abu Sayyaf was neutralized by government forces during pursuit operations in Patikul, Sulu. Troops of the 32nd Infantry reportedly encountered a group led by Hajaan Sawajaan in Sitio Saili, Barangay Panglayahan. The skirmish lasted for 30 minutes, from which no casualties were incurred on the government side. Soldiers recovered improvised explosive devices and other personal effects from the terrorists who escaped the gunfight. Joint Task Force Sulu Commander Brigadier General Divino Rey Pabayo thanks the local community for providing information about the presence of the Abu Sayyaf in the area. The Area Clearing and Validation Board, or ACBV, has declared 36 barangays in the Davao region to be free from insurgency. The named barangays have conducted activities to clear insurgents in their areas, such as driving away communist rebels and dismantling the CPP-NPA politico-military structure. They have also established their own barangay information net and integrated community public safety system. The declaration is part of efforts to ensure lasting peace in the region. Brigadier General Ernesto Torres Jr., commander of 103rd Infantry Raptor Brigade, vows that the military will be an active partner of Davao City and Davao del Norte in implementing peace efforts in the said region. The barangays were cleared following 8 months of cooperation among the military, police, and local and barangay officials. To consistently monitor the situation of the residents of Marawi City, the Philippine Information Agency, or PIA, is planning to digitize its database and create a centralized system that will track internally displaced persons. Here is our report.
The agency that oversees the national government's public information infrastructure said efforts are underway to digitize information of those forced to flee their homes after the conflict in Marawi. Philippine Information Agency Director General Harold Clavite said the digitization of the database of displaced Marawi residents is now being explored by the Information Management and Strategic Communications Support Group of Task Force Bangon Marawi. Clavite says a web-based database system will allow the task force and the national agencies to track the needs of IDPs as well as food and non-food assistance being provided. Currently, the Department of Social Welfare and Development uses the Disaster Assistance Family Access Card to manually validate the status of affected families. Clavite says the current system might be less efficient and taxing to government workers. He adds that a centralized system can economically and quickly help more families, not only in Marawi but also in future scenarios. Data from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees said the Marawi conflict forcibly displaced 98% of the total population of the city, as well as residents from nearby municipalities. The PIA, an attached agency of the Presidential Communications Operations Office, has been involved with the Task Force Bangon Marawi since its creation by President Rodrigo Duterte on June 28, 2017. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Up next, the Department of Transportation orders a list of jeepney franchisees that will receive fuel vouchers. The first ever esports franchise league is set to be launched in the country. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Sa pagkikipagtulungan ng National Commission on Muslim Filipinos o NCMF sa Marawi City Ulama Council at Lanao del Sur Provincial Ulama Council, isinusulong sa mga isinasagawang khutba o sermon kada Biyernes ng mga Muslim ang pagtama ng mga masamang ugali at maling gawain ng mga tao. Sa isang khutba na isinagawa sa Saduk Grand Mosque, ipinaliwanag ni Alim Abdul Karim Siddiq ang kahalagahan ng pagtama sa mga maling gawain ng mga Muslim ngayong buwan ng Ramadan. Ayon sa kanya,
yung karakter, mga ugali sa mga tao dapat na i-repair. Yung nangyari dito sa Marawi, pwede related sa yung sa mga ugali ng mga tao. Hindi sila mga nakaintindihan, maraming mga ginagawa, di nakayon sa antunuto na Islam. Dumating yung Ramadan, ito ang dapat na i-repair niya yung mga ugali ng mga tao.
Nanawagan naman si Regional Director ng NCMF Lanao Area B, Alikhan Taib, na maging mapagpasensya ang mga tao sa isinasagawang rehabilitasyon sa Marawi. Ayon sa kanya,
sa mga kapatid namin na nandito sa Marawi na bumalik, kami po nananawagan sa inyo na sana palakasin natin yung simba natin sa Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Ang nangyari po ay nangyari na. So kailangan po natin ngayon mag-united tayo at saka be patient sa nangyari at saka we will wait for the program of the government through the Task Force Bangon Marawi.
Kasabay ng pagdiriwang ng Marawi Week of Peace na pinangunahan ng Task Force Bangon Marawi noong nakaraang linggo, pinangunahan rin ng NCMF ang pag-ere ng Islamic Hour Radio program kung saan ipinapaliwanag ang importansya at benepisyo ng pag-obserba sa buwan ng Ramadan at itinuturo ang mga paraan ng tamang pagsamba. Sa tulong rin ng mga isinasagawang khutba o sermon at information and education campaign ay isinusulong ang advokasya sa kapayapaan. Nakipagtulungan rin ng NCMF sa Philippine Information Agency, Marawi Islamic Affairs at lokal na pamahalaan ng Marawi City sa isinagawang Quran Reading Contest. Pinangunahan rin ng NCMF ang pagsagawa ng Azan o Call to Prayer Contest noong Marawi Week of Peace at nagtayo ng booth para sa pag-issue ng mga Certificate of Tribal Membership. Para sa bayan, Lua Antonio, Philippine Information Agency.
At least 300,000 Muslim residents of Zamboanga City celebrated the Grand Islamic Feast of Eid al-Fitr on Friday, June 15. The feast, one of two most important in Islam, marks the end of the month-long fasting Ramadan and falls on the first day of the Hijrah month of Shawwal. In predominantly Christian Philippines, it is the only feast observed as a national holiday. The feast began with early morning outdoor congregational prayer assemblies at many mosques found around the city's 98 barangays. Wearing their best traditional prayer vestments, Muslim men, women, and children attended the elaborate prayer rituals that lasted for as long as an hour. After the prayers, families exchanged home visits to give gifts and renew social relationships. Haji Ali Yaqub, chairman of the city's Indigenous Peoples Council of Leaders, praised that the merits of fasting of all the faithful Muslims may bring the mercy and benevolence of Allah upon all. In his message on the occasion, President Rodrigo Duterte expressed hope that the sense of discipline taught and nurtured through Ramadan inspire Muslims to unite with other Filipinos to achieve lasting peace, political stability, economic growth, and development. The Duterte administration is in a final legislative push to enact the passage of the long-delayed Bangsamoro Basic Law, or BBL, that will establish a new autonomous regional government in Mindanao. During the last week of the Ramadan, Zamboanga City Mayor Maria Isabel Climaco Salazar and Congressman Celso Lobregat sponsored separate breaking of the fast ceremonies called Iftar for their Muslim constituents. Various non-government organizations also donated commodities to local Muslims as a form of zakat or Islamic tax, as well as to support them in their fasting regimens. Among the donors was Sulu political stalwart Sakwar Tan, whose 11-day caravan benefited some 10,000 internally displaced persons victimized by the 2013 siege on Zamboanga City. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Department of Transportation has ordered the release of the complete list of jeepney franchise holders who will receive fuel subsidy vouchers. The DOTR finalized the guidelines for distributing vouchers with the Department of Budget and Management, Finance, Energy. This is to prevent the lack of accountability noted by the Commission on Audit in the previous administration's Pantawid Pasada program. The vouchers will come in with the form of debit cards, which will help monitor the subsidies given to beneficiaries. The debit cards are expected to be released this July. The Armed Forces of the Philippines is planning to teach financial management to its troops to help them manage their salaries and prevent them from incurring too much debt. AFP spokesman Colonel Edgar Arevalo says AFP Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez Jr. has issued an official directive that a soldier's take-home pay must not fall below 15,000 pesos. Arevalo explains that this is the minimum amount for a soldier to live decently, which means they should not lose their money to deductions such as loan amortizations and other debts. However, soldiers will be told to undergo seminars so that they would learn to budget their already doubled salaries and refrain from habitually borrowing money. Police have raised a similar problem where they nearly don't earn their pay due to deductions from their numerous debts. The Philippines is launching its first ever club esports league called the Nationals starting next year. In the Nationals, teams will bring in representatives in PC, mobile, console, and wildcard esports titles. The Nationals will be televised nationwide through local channel ESPN5. The build-up to the new league begins with the road to Nationals starting in August and will culminate at the Electronic Sports and Gaming Summit 2018 on October 26 to 28. The tournament series will serve as a basis for the gamers who will take part in the Nationals, which in turn organize the national teams that will take part in the SEA Games, the Asian Games, and the Olympics. For our feature story, bonsai enthusiasts in Palawan believe that bonsai growing is a relaxing and enjoyable hobby, which is why they are inviting other Palaweños to learn this miniature art form. More on this story from Maricor Zapata.
Bonsai thrives in the Philippines. For the third year in a row, the Baragatan Festival in Palawan is featuring a bonsai and suiseke show and competition. Again, this is to highlight this consistently admired but rarely understood art of cultivating miniature trees in pots and those decorative, artfully shaped stones. The Bonsai and Suiseki Show and competition kick-started the Baragatan Festival to usher in Palawan's 116th founding anniversary celebration. This year, the show is featuring 55 miniature pieces of trees grown in small pots and Suiseki viewing stones that signify longevity and immortality. Palawan's townspeople gather at the Baragatan Festival to showcase their respective communities' best. Generoso Frago, president of the Palawan Bonsai Society, says his group continues to join the annual Convergence Festival to teach the public about both arts, which tell stories through living illusions. Frago explains that getting into bonsai art makes a person strive to find possibilities for personal expression within the limits of worthy horticultural practices. He describes bonsai art as a cheery blend of thoughts, forms, and styles in a petite sphere. What's notable about bonsai art, Frago points out, is its ability to instill discipline and patience in a person who wants to delight in its creativity. The word bonsai comes from the two Japanese words bon and sai, which respectively mean pot and potted planting. Baragatan's Bonsai and Suiseki Show runs until June 23 from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily at the provincial capital. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's top stories. The government meets with mediating country Norway as peace talks with communist rebels are put on hold. Police arrest 4,000 loiterers as President Duterte orders intensified anti-crime operations. The Court of Appeals rules that Maynilad's water rate hike is legal, and the first ever esports franchise league is set to be launched in the country. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And remember this, if you want to travel far, don't try to see what's at the end of the road. Just concentrate on the next step. Let's take life one step at a time. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I'm William Theo. Good day.